This week on the Computer Chronicles, how to create your own personal website. We'll give you some basic rules for designing a good-looking website. We'll show you one of the best web design software packages that makes it easy to create your own site. And we'll even tell you how to add streaming audio to your site. Plus some new technology to speed up those graphic downloads, some tips on how to get Yahoo to list your site on their search engine, and some advice on how to make your website accessible to the disabled. Also, my pick of the week. It's all coming up next on the Computer Chronicles.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro1's Mathematics Tutor in a Box for school year 98-99, including 6 CDs and workbook. And by Z Auction, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world, because the world runs on Windows.
Hi, and welcome to the Computer Chronicles. I'm Stuart Chaffee. Well, life used to be simple. To be plugged into the rest of the world, all you needed was a phone number. Then you had to get a fax machine, then an email address, and now if you're anybody, you're expected to have your own website. Well, the good news is it's easier than ever to put up your personal website. The bad news is there are a lot of bad-looking websites up there. So how do you make sure yours is a good one? And Glenn Davis, you're going to be our expert. You started doing the cool site of the day about 4 years ago. So you've looked at 1 million websites by now.
Feels like 1 billion.
Okay. And tell us, are there any basic rules of thumb for what's a good site, what's a bad site in terms of design?
Try to keep it simple. Try to have 5 navigation items or less on your front page. Try to have your page load and be usable in less than 30 seconds. And have a passion about what you do.
All right, practical stuff. All right, you've picked, I know there's 1 million to choose, but you've picked some sites to look at to show both the good points and the bad points of web design. So what's the first one you're going to show us?
This is the 5th house on the left. This is a personal page done by a woman who keeps a diary. She's got a diary of being a new mother. She has some games that she's written and put up.
And why do you like it?
It's a fun page. It's got a retro 50s style to it. You feel like Ward and June.
And it meets your criteria you just mentioned at the top.
Yes.
All right, show us another one. What's this?
This is the Gallery of Regrettable Food. This is a gentleman who has a passion about foods that he thinks we shouldn't have eaten.
Meets the fun criteria.
Right.
You like the design? Did you like the design of that? It seemed pretty simple.
Yeah, it was pretty simple.
Okay.
Then we have the ultralight experience. It's a photographic journal of a man who learned to build and fly ultralight airplanes. And he's got a passion behind here. And you can learn
why do you like this?
You can learn something here that you would have never learned from anybody else.
Obviously, nice use of graphics, the way it's underlaid behind the text and so on.
Photographers tend to do really good use of graphics.
All right, another example.
Okay, this is an example of bad navigation. This is a fake corporation called GlassDog World Domination. You cannot see the navigation easily.
It's not real obvious where to go to click to get to the next thing.
Yeah, it's hidden on the right in the little
that's
colored
that little
blocks.
dark bar on the right side there.
Right. So you want to avoid something like that. You want to have your navigation to be as obvious as possible.
Okay.
You want people to find what you've got.
Now, what's this?
This is an example of a personal resume site. This is an artist who has put up a site that's used as a personal resume. She talks about what she does, where she lives, what she's looking for, what she can do for people who need her services, and all the things that she likes. And
you like it because it's just the nice design?
Nice design. It does load quickly over a modem, and it's a just very elegant, graceful site.
Is it important before you put up your own site to go scouting around and look at stuff to get an idea of what's out there?
Oh, it's extremely important. If you want to build websites, you need to look at the great websites that are out there and learn from them. There's so much to be learned from looking at the good.
Now, the sites you showed us were relatively complicated. I mean, a complicated use of graphics and so on. I mean, can a normal person who's not a geek do something like that?
Oh, yeah. That's the whole goal we have at Project Cool, and that we think that anyone can build a great website. And we have tutorials that are non-geek speak, where you can come in and in 5 minutes have built your first web page using any computer.
All right, so that's the website you run now, which is projectcool.com, and I can go there and get what? You've got it up there now.
You can learn to build the web, you can look at great websites, you can talk with others who are building the web. You can always remember that people are your own best resource in anything that you do, and especially in building the web.
All right, thank you very much. All right, well, once you've created your website, you want to make sure people can find it among the millions of websites that are out there. To help you through that maze, we went to visit the folks at Yahoo to see what it takes to get listed in their search engine.
At Yahoo's headquarters in Silicon Valley, a team of surfers is at work sifting, sorting, and grading websites. These sites were submitted by people who would like to be added to one of Yahoo's groups. Personal home pages have their own subcategory under society and culture, and Yahoo's criteria for inclusion are not too demanding.
So for personal home pages, it's actually a place where we can be even more inclusive than anywhere else, because who's to say what's interesting and what's not interesting, what's useful and what's not useful. And for personal pages, rather than the point being to convey information to someone else for their own edification, often the point of a personal page is simply for the author to express themselves.
While Yahoo's web reviewers may give more leeway to personal site design, it pays to keep some basic rules in mind regarding appearance and content.
First of all, you've got to have some underlying content of substance there. You've got to have something to say. And then on top of that, a very clear, useful navigational structure so that someone who's never seen this before can come in and get to the stuff and understand what's where.
Yahoo's editor says that reviewers look for innovation and creative design. But as the number of personal web pages grows, it becomes harder to find sites that truly stand out. Still, a simple, organized site is a good way to start, and the content should reveal something about the person behind the page.
Reveal something about yourself. That's really what it's about. Use it as a platform for expressing, creating, letting people know something about you that they might not have known otherwise. I think there are a number of reasons that people like to create pages, but there are also a number of reasons that people like to view pages of people they've never met before. There's sort of this voyeuristic appeal of people watching and just clicking around in the A's and the B's and the C's and seeing what other people have to say about themselves.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
So let's get down to the basics. How do you actually start creating your own website? Most people go out and buy a web design software package, and we're going to show you one example of a good one, PageMill 3.0 from Adobe. And Roger, I guess PageMill 1.0 was really the first package that lets you do this. You could just buy off the shelf, right?
It really helped just anybody create a web page who didn't know anything about the web or HTML.
Okay, here we are at 3.0, lots more features in there, but still relatively easy to use.
Absolutely.
Let's say I just got home, unwrapped the package, installed the software. I want to start from the beginning to design my website. What do I do?
Well, the key is to start simple and then work up as you learn more.
Get the words in there.
Text is number one.
Okay.
So you can get text from anywhere. In this case, I have a Microsoft Word document, and I can just copy, paste, drag, and drop.
So I could have created the text in Word, pull it in.
Exactly, or even type it straight into PageMill. I'll just drop it in right here. And PageMill works just like a word processor.
So I could do the editing inside there and...
Exactly, and make the fonts bigger and so forth. But the real fun is images, because that's what makes the web really stand out.
Okay.
You can get images from anywhere. Use your digital camera, just take them right off your disk. In this case, we'll actually use our web browser, Internet Explorer, to go to a page, and we'll just take pages right off the web.
Let's borrow some graphics from someplace else, all right?
In this case, I'm just going to click on the image right in my web browser and just drag it over and drop it on the little page symbol, which shows me where the background image goes.
Now, how did it know to become a background like that and not just a graphic of a bagel?
Because that's what the little page symbol stands for, which means over the entire page.
Okay, and it knows to just go underneath the text like that?
You bet.
All right, pretty clever. All right, but that's nice, but I want to do more now, obviously.
You need more than one page to have links,
right.
So let's create a second page. And a real common technique this time is to have frames, which include sort of a table of contents and a banner across the top. So I can do frames inside PageMill without knowing how that works? You bet. Just hold the control key down and just drag out an area.
And that breaks my page into frames? You
bet. I'll do one from the top too, so we can put like a logo at the top or a family name,
and I can
whatever.
now put different things in those different frames?
Exactly. For one thing, we can actually color them. For example, let's say I want this table of contents area to be white. I have a little color panel, but I have all 216 web-safe colors if you want them.
So that's the background color you're going to put on that particular frame.
Exactly. And so now let's bring some graphics over to it. I'll go back to my browser. Buttons.
Okay.
So I'll go back to that same page that happens to have a whole lot of reserved buttons on here.
Okay.
That PageMill comes with lots of pre-made buttons and graphics. So I'll just drop some in.
So I got my little bagel buttons
Home,
there.
maybe some employment, email.
So it's really drag and drop.
Exactly. And linking is just as easy. So
all right, yeah, so how do I link these two pages so people can go, say, from the word bagel on one page to the background?
Well, here I've just put some more text in here. Let's say we want to link the word Bagel Bakery to this other page we just created.
I want to make that a hot link so somebody clicks on Bagel Bakery, it'll take them to the other page.
Exactly. Just select that word, and then go over and grab that page symbol on the first page, and we'll just drag it over and drop it on that word. And now it's linked. That's all there is to it.
It's a link, it's turned blue.
Exactly.
Magic. What about, okay, now what about that top frame if I wanted to put some sort of banner headline up there?
Exactly. Just grab an empty banner, and we actually come with Photoshop so you can grab empty banners and then go customize them yourself to put your own name in it, your own family name.
So Photoshop LE is bundled with page build. Last thing, the little Java applets, people want little banners scrolling and that cool stuff?
Everyone loves animations on their pages. Here I have an existing page that has a Java applet on here. I'm not a Java programmer. I just
now where
picked
did
this
that
up.
come from?
It actually comes on the CD. We come with some standard Java applets. And I can just, like any other image, just drag and drop it into my page. And now if I want to put my own name into it, I can just show a little inspector, which lets me get to all the attributes. And now I can just change the text, put my own name. And
in real time, we've just created a two-page site anyhow.
Exactly.
With links, graphics, frames, the whole bit.
You bet.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, well, it's all well and nice to have the text and the graphics all in place on your new personal website, but if you really want to be cool, you need some multimedia. So let's see how complicated it is to add streaming audio to your website. And I guess you're going to tell me it's not real complicated with this emblaze.audio you've got now.
That's right.
It sounds like it would be complicated. I mean, it's complicated just to listen to audio on a website. You're saying I can just put it up on my site real easily.
Yeah, it's as simple as compressing any existing audio file and then putting it on your website. And now anybody with a Java-supported browser comes into your website and hears audio instantaneously.
All right, this is the personal website you created for your son.
That's right.
So this is real stuff.
Yep.
And it right now doesn't have any audio on it, but we want to say, okay, let's have some background music so when people come to the site, it's more fun.
Sure, it's a very simple process. We open up the Emblaze audio interface. It's 2 buttons, so it can't get much easier. First button is open.
Go find the WAV file that you're going to use.
Right. We have some samples here, WAV files. We're going to use the music. And now we hit the other button, which is compress, and we're saving it now with the Java class files, because that's the secret to how you...
So we're compressing the sound file so it's small enough so that it can real quickly move down the line.
Right. Now when we say save, it's compressing the file and creating not only a compressed audio file, but also the HTML for you. It does that for you. So now it's completed.
Now how much compression are we doing here? This goes from what to what?
Right. We'll show you right here. We have the original sample file was a whopping
2.5 megs or so.
Right, and now we see the compressed file music is 50K.
Wow.
So that's pretty dramatic.
Is it going to sound okay?
Yeah, we'll listen.
Can we take a look and see how this works?
Yeah, basically.
Now, how do I actually get the file now into my homepage?
Well, you need to drop the HTML file that we created when we compressed the audio.
Okay, so that code was automatically created by the software.
We created
but I now have to do a little cut and paste inside my original code.
Right, and you could use PageMill or anything else, but we're just going to, for simplicity, we're going to copy that. And now we're going to just drop in our regular page and press paste, and we save that out. And now when we come back to our page and hit reload, we now have audio.
Now you got a little button down there.
Boom. Now we can hear background music.
And you just did that in real time.
Yeah, that's pretty quick.
Let me ask you the next thing. I think you have a little sample babble it says there. I mean, normally you want to get the kid's voice up there so the grandparents back east can log onto your website and listen to the kid. How do you do that?
So we just, that was a link that we created, and now we have...
Okay, so that came off that little Babel hot link that was on your home page.
Correct.
Now, how do you get that sound into the computer in the first place?
That is something that you would just record on any sound recorder, which comes with
So people
your
may
computer.
not know, but if you've got a Windows PC, you've got a sound recorder built in there, and you can just record those little samples and put them in there.
It's a very simple process.
All right, now you showed something to look kind of complicated, which was cutting and pasting the HTML code. But you say you don't have to really do all that if you're inside, say, a PageMill type environment.
If you're using an editor, an HTML editor, you can just drag and drop that applet right into your page, and then it's finished.
What's the trick, Jay? Why is it so easy to do this? And it seems like audio is so complicated when you go onto a website. You have to pull down the players, and do you have the right player, and so on and so forth?
Well, it's a combination of compression algorithms that we've developed and Java technology that lets us have audio for everybody, audio for the masses.
All right. So again, doesn't matter what's going on at the server, doesn't matter what's going on at the client end. On my website, I can just stick in the audio like this.
All you would need to do from here is just copy all of those files in the player folder onto your web server, and you're finished. It's a very simple process.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
All right. Well, if you're designing a website for an organization, you want to make sure your site is accessible to the largest number of people. That means following some basic guidelines and design standards To help you in this task, we visited one web designer who has set the standard for accessibility in web pages.
In the physical world, they are increasingly common on sidewalks and in doorways. Ramps, the simple inclines that mean access to a disabled traveler. But to persons with hearing or sight problems, entry barriers also exist on the internet. Today, it is relatively simple to make websites accessible to everyone. The city of San Jose, California, decided to do just that by adding electronic ramps to their website.
And as I looked at this issue, I began to see that out there on the net, there were resources for universal design, and that by developing web disability access standards, I would have based on universal design, people with disabilities would have access to our website and not be locked out.
Altering a page to make it accessible is neither expensive nor complicated. It's a matter of good design and common sense. There is even a diagnostic site on the internet called Bobby, after the English constable, that will evaluate your newly accessible website.
If people are doing websites at home and putting up pictures of their family or their particular products, include some description about what that picture is, if it's a picture of my family and dog, and give some kind of verbal written text description of what that is. If you're going to be creating your own website, try to ensure that it's not just a pretty graphical picture, because a lot of people can't access that.
Airport. Attorney apostrophe S, auditor apostrophe, clerk apostrophe S, conventions, comma, entertainment.
Randy uses a screen reader called DeckTalk. With software, the device can read text, open menus, and find hypertext links. But there are some things it cannot do, such as describe images that lack descriptions. It is one example of how even personal home pages can become accessible.
Think about your eyes being busy and not being able to see the screen. What would you do? Think about if you are putting up a video clip, an audio, and think about what if you can't hear that? Have a captioning for that. If you are going to have hyperlinks, of course, please don't put them in images unless you have description as to what that link is.
Making a personal home page available to everyone may not be the first thing most web users think of, but a small change can mean a great deal to some web surfers.
What it means to me is when I go to a site and it is fully accessible, I can get to the information, that is a very positive, inclusive feeling for me. It's someone thought about this, someone knows we're out here. When I go to a site that doesn't have any hyperlinks or doesn't have any way for me to access that material, it's like someone creating a building and there's no wheelchair ramp to get in.
No hyperlinks found on this screen.
For the Computer Chronicles, I'm Sarah O'Brien.
Designing an attractive website always means having to make a decision between a site that looks good and is full of cool graphics or a site that's lean and simple but loads fast. However, there's now a technology that lets you have the best of both worlds, and I guess, Dave, that's the idea behind Intel's Quick Web technology. What does it actually do?
Well, Stuart, there's essentially two key pieces to it. One is compression, where we squeeze the extra bits out of these big websites so that they go down the wire to your PC a lot quicker.
Okay.
The other is caching, where if there's a bunch of people that use an ISP that has Intel Quick Web technology on it, the first person who hits that site makes a copy on the Intel server out there at the ISP, and then anybody else going through that ISP in that area can get it just from there. They don't have to go all the way back to Rome or wherever to get it.
All right, so the Quick Web technology sits in my ISP, not at the client end, not at the server end, but in the middle?
One of the cool things about this is you can get the speed up from Intel Quick Web technology without having to install any hardware or software on your PC. You just order it from your ISP and boom, you're off to the races.
All right, let's take a look at what it actually does. What is the speed factor that I get if I use Quick Web technology?
Well, we'll hit a few sites and you can see for yourself, because it depends on the site, how much graphics are on the site.
So set up what you've done here. We got a little A/B race going?
Two identical computers. They're identical modems and software and everything. They're going to the same modem bank in Oregon, going out to the internet. One goes through the Intel Quick Web technology server, though, on its way out to the internet. And that's the one with the pop-up there that you see in the
All right, so the only variable is one's using QuickWeb, one isn't. All the other
right, the
parameters
PCs here
are the same.
identical.
All right, so what are you going to do now? Download two pages?
We'll hit 2 pages. Well, let's say we go to the Boeing company because they've got a lot of pictures on the website.
Ready, get, set, go,
Boom.
and you just said launch it. And
I launched them both.
over here, we're looking at QuickWeb, obviously, because that's moving quickly.
And you can see the Boeing site has a lot of pictures.
And it's done.
That one's done, and this one's still loading. This is the one that the way you normally see it on a 28.8 modem from your home dial-up. And this site we picked because it has a lot of pictures you can see. And that's what we do. We speed up the pictures on the website, not all the words. So if you hit a website that was all words, you wouldn't see that much speed.
Now, what modem speed are we at right now?
28.8. All right, which is what most people on the internet are at, 28.8.
Gotcha. Now, am I suffering some degradation of the quality of these graphics? It doesn't look quite as crisp as on the other side.
There's a little bit more fuzziness because we do squeeze out the bits and throw them in the bit bucket. So there's a little bit of loss of resolution, and depending on how finicky you are.
But generally, who cares?
Most people can't see the difference.
Now, can I control that and say, hey, in this particular graphic, I really want the resolution, I don't want the speed?
Exactly. Let's say you've hit 10 websites looking for the artwork you want from the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Once you find it, you can go up here in the left-hand corner of the QuickWeb one. You can see this is called the speed selector. Normally, you run in high gear in quick speed, but let's say you find the site you want and you want to reload it in full resolution. So you've already hit 10 sites. You found the artwork, Michelangelo's artwork from the Sistine Chapel. You can hit normal speed, and then you can hit the reload button.
Okay, and say, bring it back to me, but don't give me the compression routine.
Don't squeeze it down. Just give it to me in full resolution. And because we made a copy on the cache at your ISP.
It's still a little bit faster because of the caching.
Yeah, there's a copy stored in, let's say you're in San Francisco here. It's stored on the local computer in San Francisco. You don't have to go all the way across the country, across the Atlantic to Rome. Boom, it's right there. And so you can see this one's even loading faster than this one did, even though it's the same resolution now.
All right, now let me ask you again, how do I get this? I simply go to my ISP and say, hey, I want to buy this extra service called QuickWeb, and I just pay a monthly fee?
You pay a little bit more a month to get this kind of service. It's sort of like call waiting or caller ID or something on your phone or premium cable channels or something like that. And your ISP then
no software, doesn't matter what processor
no software,
I've got
no hardware, it runs on a Mac, runs under Windows, whatever you want.
What does this do quickly to audio and video streaming? Does it affect that in any way?
It doesn't affect it. Not so far. We're not speeding that up. Right now we're just passing that through. If we get enough feedback from the market, we could do something like that.
Intel's QuickWeb. Thank you very much, Dave.
Thank you, Steve.
All right, that's our look at how to create your own website. Next up, another special preview look at Windows 98, and I'll be back with my pick of the week.
Customizing your start menu is a great idea. Unfortunately, in Windows 95, it's way too hard. It's a lot easier in Windows 98 because it's all done with drag and drop. Let me show you how it's done. I'm going to click on the Start button here and just go to the Programs item and select Microsoft Word. Now I'm going to just drag and drop with the left mouse button and drag it up to the top of the Start menu. Now when I click on the Start button, Word is always going to be there. I can rearrange all these items as well. I'm going to drag and drop Microsoft Excel here to the bottom, and then I'll maybe bring the MS-DOS prompt to the bottom as well. I can do anything I like. I can also drag and drop to the desktop. Here's Excel going to the desktop, and now that's a real shortcut. And of course it works both ways. I can put Microsoft Outlook right there on the Start menu, up here with Microsoft Word. And here's a really neat trick. You can drag and drop to the taskbar. It creates a miniaturized icon that you can click on in the future to launch the application that's there. Those are just a few of the ways that you can customize easily the Start menu in Windows 98. Now, you should note that this is also something you can do in Internet Explorer 4.0, which is freely downloadable from the Microsoft site. Back to you, Stuart.
Now for my pick of the week. Let's say you want to build your own personal website, but you don't want to spend the $100 to go out and buy some web design software. Well, I'm going to show you how to create your own website for nothing using a new web service called Homestead. This is a Java-based application that you can use for free to create and host your own website. The URL is homestead.com. Here's how it works. Once you log on to Homestead, you see a page builder that lets you easily drag and drop various text, graphic, and interactive elements. The Homestead site is full WYSIWYG since you are literally building the home page in real time inside a browser. It's easy to import images or animations. The site comes with its own clip art library. You can do layering and even add complex elements like scrolling banners and chat rooms. One nice feature of Homestead is that it takes advantage of being a web-based design tool by allowing several people to collaborate in the design of a homepage so that, say, members of a family or an organization scattered across the country can all work together to create a group homepage. Another nice feature of web-based Java applications like Homestead is that you never have to worry about updating your software to the newest version. Whenever you log on to homestead.com, you obviously automatically get the current release. This is a very cool new way to use the web and the power of Java. Check it out if you're in the mood to finally launch your own website. That's it for this edition of the Chronicles. If you'd like any more information about anything you saw on the show, please check out our website at cmptv.com. Thanks for watching. Hope we'll see you here next time.
Computer Chronicles is made possible in part by SoftSource Incorporated, publishers of Pro1 software, educational software for young adults. And by Z Auctions, the live online shopping experience. Additional funding from PC Connection and Mac Connection, the catalog and online superstore with PC and Mac products, toll-free technical support, and overnight delivery. And by Windows Magazine, delivering desktop, enterprise, and internet computing news, reviews, features, and how-tos for a Windows world, because the world runs on Windows.
To purchase a videotape copy of today's program, call toll-free 1-888-310-7850. Please specify the show number and the topic.
Next week on the Computer Chronicles, Desktop Video. We'll show you the newest way to get digital video into your computer. We'll show you how to turn your video into a panoramic 3D image using something called the Video Brush. We'll visit the new Digital Room exhibit at the San Jose Tech Museum of Innovations, plus a complete video production studio on your desktop for under $1,000. A look at how one NBC TV affiliate is moving to digital desktop video and how you can create your own dancing baby. Also, my pick of the week. It's all coming up next week on the Computer Chronicles.